What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul. This is the Leeds Therapy. Thank you, as ever, for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. If you've not done so already, please make sure that you are subscribed, your notifications are turned on, that you are commenting, liking, hyping the video as well. If you're listening to the audio version of this, just make sure that you are liking it for me and that you are following either on Apple or on the Spotify link as well. That would be massively appreciated. So, 24 hours is a very, very large amount of time in football. They do tell you that. And I was in the gym, as you can tell. I've still got my gym clothes on. So watching my good friend Jer's transfer roundup that he does every Sunday, which is a really, really good knitting together of all the information that you could want. It really pulls sort of the significant sections of it together, which is, for me, I love all of that kind of stuff where you can get threads and just make it kind of makes sense. And one man came up in the conversation, and that young man is Tarik Muharemović. There you go, Muharemović. Tarik Muharemović has come into the equation, kind of sort of out of nowhere, but we are potentially looking at him, and it has gathered massive pace over the last 24 hours in terms of what's kind of going on. So I'm going to do my usual profile, all of the bits and pieces that you would normally do, just so we can have a new piece on the Who Is series. So the easiest thing to do on this is basically, let's just jump straight into it so I don't need to waste your time anymore listening to me sort of waffle on about absolute rubbish. So let's jump into it. If you've been following Leeds United for the past 24 hours, you've probably noticed one name absolutely dominating social media: Tarik Muharemović, a player that only a few months ago very few Leeds fans had even heard of, but now appears to be one of the hottest young defenders in European football. We've had exclusive reports from Fabrizio Romano, analysis from Graham Smith, interest from multiple Premier League clubs, and perhaps the most fascinating part of the entire deal: Juventus could actually earn a 50% sell-on of whatever Sussolo received because of the sell-on clause built into the agreement when they sold him. So today, let's take a proper look at the man behind the headlines. Who is Tarik Muharemović? What kind of defender is he? Would he suit Daniel Farke? And is he worth the reported €40 million valuation? Muharemović was born on the 28th of February 2003. Although born in Slovenia, he represents Bosnia and Herzegovina, progressing through their youth sides before becoming a senior international. Standing at around 1.87 metres, 6'5"-ish, he's naturally left-footed. Immediately that makes him attractive, because elite left-footed centre-backs simply aren't that common. They're one of the hardest profiles to recruit in modern football. He's still only 23 years old, yet already has experience in Austria, Italy, Serie B, Serie A, and international football. Those are impressive building blocks for someone still developing. Tarik's football journey is a little different to many elite defenders. He came through Wolfsberger AC in Austria before making his senior debut as an 18-year-old. Juventus spotted his potential very early. In 2021, they signed him to their famous Next Gen programme, widely regarded as one of Europe's best pathways for young footballers. This is the same development model that has produced numerous Serie A professionals. Instead of throwing youngsters straight into the first team, Juventus exposed them to senior football every single week. Muharemović learned how to defend in one of Europe's most tactical leagues. The education has clearly paid off. Last season, Sassuolo took him on loan. He impressed immediately. They made the move permanent. Since then, he's become one of Serie A's breakout defenders. Strong, aggressive, comfortable on the ball, dominant in aerial duels, exactly the type of Premier League player clubs are looking for before their price really explodes. So, what type of footballer is Tarik Muharemović? First, he's a natural left-footed centre-back. That's hugely important. Leeds have lost Pascal Struijk, remember. Replacing a left-footed defender with another left-footed completely changes how your build-up works. He naturally opens the pitch. He can play diagonal switches. He receives under pressure on his stronger side. Farke values that enormously. Muharemović isn't simply a big defender. He's surprisingly mobile. He likes defending aggressively. He steps into midfield. He enjoys front foot defending rather than constantly dropping deeper. He attacks the ball. That's exactly how Leeds defended under Farke last season. He also recovers well over longer distances. Modern Premier League football demands centre-backs who can defend huge spaces. Tarik has shown he can do the lot. On the ball, this might actually be his biggest reason that Leeds United are interested. He's calm, rarely panics, happy carrying possession forward, comfortable breaking opposition pressing lines, excellent passing range. That left foot opens passing angles that right-footed defenders simply don't have. Watching him for Sassuolo, you see a defender who almost looks like a midfielder at times. That's exactly what Farke wants. Aerial dominance is another major strength. Graham Smith summed him up perfectly when discussing Leeds' interest. He described Muharemović as being aerial dominant and good on the ball. He also noted that he'd be helpful in a post-strike world, while cautioning that he would not be an easy signing because of the level of competition for his signature. That assessment fits exactly what you see watching him play. Looking at his 25-26 campaign, he established himself as a regular in Serie A. His defensive numbers across tackling, interceptions, clearances, dual successes and progressive passing all paint the picture of a modern centre-back capable of playing in possession while remaining physically competitive. More importantly, he passes the eye test. Sometimes statistics only tell half the story. Watching him play tells you the other half. Why are we interested? So let's move on to it. The story really exploded when Romano broke the news. Initially, Romano reported that Leeds had entered the race alongside Bournemouth and Sunderland. That immediately told supporters something important. This wasn't simply another rumour. Leeds were actively involved. Then, Romano followed up. He revealed Leeds had presented a verbal contract proposal to Muharemović. He stated that Leeds were pushing to close the deal quickly and remain confident despite competition from other clubs. Those updates significantly increased confidence that Leeds were pursuing the defender seriously. Graham Smith's view. Graham, as is always the case with Mr. Smith, had been more cautious. Rather than claiming the deal is done, he explained that Leeds' interest was genuine, but had not progressed significantly beyond that stage. That's an important distinction. Leeds may genuinely like the player, but liking a player and completing a €40 million transfer are two very, very different things. The 50% sell-on clause. This is arguably the most fascinating aspect of the entire transfer. When Juventus allowed Muharemović to leave permanently, they negotiated what could prove to be a hugely valuable clause. Juventus are entitled to 50% of any future transfer fee that Sassuolo receive. Think about that for a moment. If Leeds were to play €40 million, Sassuolo wouldn't receive the full 40. They would get around 20 million, and the other 20 million would effectively go back to Juventus because of the sell-on clause arrangement. That completely changes the dynamics of any negotiations. Sassuolo know they're only receiving half of whatever the fee is agreed. So naturally, they're going to push for the highest possible valuation. Leeds, on the other hand, will want to negotiate the best deal they can. It's one of the reasons this transfer is far more complicated than it might appear on the surface. Interestingly, the clause also means Juventus still have a financial interest in Muharemovic's future despite selling him. It's a smart business deal from the Italian giants, and it's now something Leeds have to work around if they're going to get the deal over the line. When you combine Fabrizio Romano's report of the verbal contract proposed with the complexity of the sell-on clause, you begin to understand why this isn't a straightforward transfer. Leeds clearly want the player. The player appears interested in the move, but the negotiations with Sassuolo could ultimately determine whether Tarik Muharemović ends up putting on a white shirt at Ellen Road. Would he fit at Leeds? Personally, I think he ticks almost every tactical box. Left-footed, comfortable in possession, progressive passer, physically strong, good age and a high ceiling. He's exactly the profile of modern footballer Premier League clubs try to recruit before the player becomes completely unattainable. The only downside, the price. Reports have mentioned figures around the €40 million mark. Although no transfer fee has been agreed publicly, that would represent a huge investment. Leeds would need to absolutely be confident that he is capable of becoming their long-term defensive leader. In completing this signing, Leeds won't simply be replacing Struijk, they'll be investing in the future of their defence. Muharemović looks every inch a modern Premier League centre-back. He's young, technically excellent, left-footed, international quality, and already proving himself in one of Europe's toughest tactical leagues. The journalist report suggests Leeds' interest is genuine. Romano says discussions have progressed with a verbal proposal. Graham Smith confirms the interest while urging caution. Italian reporters continue to discuss the complexity of the deal, particularly because of Juventus' 50% sell-on clause. Whether he eventually ends up at Ellen Road remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, this is exactly the calibre of player we as Leeds United supporters should be excited about. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's as much information as I can give you about this deal, potential, but more importantly, information about the player himself. And I just want to point out as well, I'll just bring it back up onto the screen just quickly. I know that Nicola Shearer is on there, and I've had my doubts in and around him and the type of reporter that he is and the fact that he gets a lot of stuff wrong, but he was very, very succinct in the information that he gave with regards to the deal and the proposal that's been put forward, which just backs up with what Romano was saying in terms of a verbal contract has been put in place. So that's the reason why he's there, because he adds a little bit of context and a little bit of information to what's actually on there in itself. So it's all down to you guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think this would be a good idea? Do you think that this would be a good fit for Leeds United? Are you excited that we are actually in those types of negotiations and in those types of discussions? For me, I think it's absolutely fantastic. And we always say it's very, very quiet and then stuff comes out of left field or comes out of nowhere. This basically started last night and then has grown legs today. So it's one of those situations that has, for me, really, really good potential. But like I said, it's not just me, it's you guys as well. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Please make sure you subscribe, guys. Please make sure that you got your notifications turned on. Please make sure that you're liking, hyping the video. Make sure that if you're listening to the audio that you're liking it as well. Have a great Monday, everybody. Take care of each other. Most importantly, guys, please take care of yourself. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for your support on the videos of late. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Take care. Cheers.